We'll call to order this special meeting of the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners in joint with the Chehalis City Council. All three commissioners are present. Mayor Ketchum.
Thank you. Welcome to this special meeting for Monday, October 2025 of the Chehalis City Council and Lewis County Commissioners. I ask you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's do a round of introductions. Before we move on, we'll just introduce those at the front here and around to staff members. Scott Brummer, Commissioner.
Lindsay Pollock, Commissioner.
Sean Swope, Commissioner.
John Six, District 1, City Council.
Jody Kais, District 4, City Council.
Bob Spark, City Council.
Donnie Ketchum, City Council.
Mike Barton, District 2, Chehalis City Council.
Kate McDougall, Mayor Pro Tem, position number 1 at large.
Kevin Carnes, District 2 at large, Chehalis City Council.
Stacy Denham, Chehalis City Manager.
Daniel Murray, City Attorney.
Celeste Wilder, City of Chehalis and Community Development Director. Cassie Frazier, City Clerk.
Serena Kostick, Assistant to the City Manager.
Nicole Stanhope, Finance Director.
Lance Bunker, City of Chehalis Public Works.
Adam Fulbright, Chehalis Fire Chief.
Mindy Brooks, Director of Community Development for Lewis County.
Ryan Barrett, Lewis County Manager.
Thank you. Since we are on Zoom here, can I get the guidelines, Kate?
This meeting is streaming via Zoom and YouTube Live with a link on Facebook. For those meeting in person, please remember to turn on your mic and speak directly into the mic when talking. For those joining us via Zoom, please remember to mute your phone or device when you are not speaking. If you forget to mute your phone or device, we will mute you. You will hear a voice saying you have been muted, and if you hear that voice, it is because we could hear your background noise. For questions during the meeting, please raise your hand. If you're not able to raise your hand, please wait until the commissioners ask for questions.
Thank you, Kate. Public comment guidelines, Reva.
Good evening, the commissioners and the council. Welcome public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. There's a timer in front of me. It'll be green when you have plenty of time left. It'll turn yellow when you have 30 seconds left, and it'll turn red when your time is up. We do ask that you please state your name and city of residence before you give public comment or public testimony. And we do have written comment and testimony that is in the record.
Thank you, Reva. We're now moving into a public hearing. We'll now call the hearing for Ordinance 1368. First, we will have a staff report followed by a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for formal testimony. Anyone wishing to testify, please sign up at the sign-up sheet at the lectern, and you will have 3 minutes. We'll now move to the staff report for Ordinance 1368.
I'll be starting a staff report and then turning it over to Stacy, and then I'll be closing out again. So again, my name is Mindy Brooks. I'm the Director of Community Development for Lewis County, and I have a few opening remarks. First, I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. It's a special meeting in a special location, so I really appreciate everyone making time for it. The purpose tonight is to hear testimony on the proposed interlocal agreement for annexation for a portion of the Chehalis urban growth area. Stacy will be presenting much of the detailed information, but I wanted to start with a high-level look at a few things and just a few reminders to people. So one of the primary roles for the Board of County Commissioners is to determine the urban growth area boundaries, which is the UGAs for each city. The UGA is the area for which the city is expected to grow, and that means annex over a 20-year period of time. The UGA is determined by projected population growth because we do need sufficient land to accommodate our housing and jobs in the community, and it is determined based on where a city can extend services, which is sewer and water. So we do coordinate very closely with the cities as we look at modifying or expanding an urban growth area. So once the county has set the UGA, we do expect and support cities in annexation of those lands. Of course, there are lots of discussions about how and when and the details of annexation and phasing of annexation, but it is expected that the UGA would be annexed over a 20-year period of time. So for the most part, once we have set the UGA boundary, we look to the city to present annexation and how annexation would go over that period of time, because they're looking at their urban services primarily, again, water and sewer, and how to extend those services into those locations. A question that has come up, and I just wanted to preempt that question right now, is we get a lot of question about, can the county take a property out of the urban growth area? If somebody did not want to be in an urban growth area and did not want to be annexed, can the county take it out? That is not what we are here to discuss tonight, to just be clear about that. But the short answer to that is yes, we can. But in order to do that, we have to still be able to prove that there is sufficient land in the remaining UGA to accommodate the population in terms of housing and jobs. So it isn't just a quick decision. It takes an analysis before we are able to remove property from an urban growth area. So again, tonight we are here for the elected officials to consider the city's proposal for annexation of a portion of the UGA, and I will turn it over to Stacy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm in the same boat. I'm going to provide a few comments and maybe a little bit of a history and how do we end up in this position now, and what we've done thus far, and where we're potentially going to go. First and foremost, as everyone knows, the UGA for the city of Chehalis has grown, but it has been there, I think, maybe back in the 80s, I believe it was. Roughly, it's been there for about 45, 50 years or something along those lines. Now, to best understand how a UGA works is that when people want to build or develop or bring something into the city, theoretically, they're supposed to annex first, and then they get the utilities they need to be able to put in a business or housing developments or whatever it might be. Lewis County in the state of Washington, mostly the state of Washington, allowed cities to open up their UGA and allow utilities to be extended out in the UGA in order to facilitate housing developments or commercial construction to go on prior to be annexed into the city. Now, that being said, that's exactly what has happened. As once that begins, then you have, as you know, the UGA now has infrastructure from the city out into the UGA, which allowed all the commercial development, housing developments that are going on out there to actually develop and be able to be built and to thrive. However, the idea when that happens is those properties are actually supposed to be brought into the city with a certain amount of time. Usually it's within about 20 years or less. Well, we're working on 40, 50 years, and it still hasn't happened. I know there's been a couple attempts looking at whether or not annexation should occur. I know there was a study done in, I believe it was 88 to 2090, I believe it was. And I believe there was another study done around 2015, 2016. In 1990, 94, in that area, that range, it was decided that it wasn't in best interest at that time, cost effective in order for the annexation to occur. And then in 2016, there was a small section of annexation that did occur, which correlated with the construction of 2 elementary schools right there off of Bishop 20th Street. So from then in 2000, and the way the state laws were set up, that you needed 60% of the land owner properties and voted to come in or petition the city to come into the city before it could be annexed. In 2018, the state of Washington decided they were going to change that law because municipalities were not annexing like anticipated. So they did. In 2018, they changed the law where it allows you to have an RCW The RCW requires that the city do its due diligence, the municipality does its due diligence, and bring it to the county commissioners and bring it to the city council for a vote if that piece of property, those parcel numbers are going to be brought into the city, so to be annexed into the city. Since then, of course, everybody knows this wonderful thing called COVID happened, and nobody was annexing even with the new laws. In 2024, the state then doubled down and they produced another law, or at least maybe not produced, but they, how do I say this? They tightened down the rules restricting on how permitting was going to occur in the UGA and the county, so the municipality, whereas it was going to be much more difficult to go back and forth between the county and the municipality for the permitting, causing the potential of violations where it could be financial penalties, things of that nature. So when talking to Lewis County, we all recognized very quickly that this was going to be very problematic for everybody involved, to include anybody wanting to get a permit to remodel their house, to builders, to developers, to just about anybody who needs a permit. We also recognize the liabilities that was assessed with that, which actually could be fairly steep, and that we needed to change the way we do our permitting. Now, in this case, Lewis County has been very open and very vocal about their request that the municipalities actually annex their UGAs. In fact, many conversations that I have had is that their goal is that no city has a UGA. If I misspoke, please tell me. But that has, for the most part, been the goal of Lewis County, is to ensure that we're not having these problems with the permitting that the state has required upon us. So at that point, we're looking at, the city of Chehalis is looking at annexation. It doesn't mean annexation is going to occur. It just means we have to look at it. In this case, my job as a city manager is to document the information, bring all the information and bring it to my city council and to the commissioners, in this case, to determine if annexation is right and should be brought and it should occur. And with that, that's exactly what's been happening thus far. That's why you're here today, is because we're getting to the apex of that process, to where now the community gets an opportunity to be able to talk and voice their position, their concerns, their support for annexation. There's been a lot of talk about, is this financially feasible? And there's also been a lot of conversations surrounding the fire departments in this case. And I want to make sure that I make note of that. Fire department specifically. Now, when we annex, one of the things that happen is the fire districts have, when they start getting annexed into their territory, they lose revenue. So with that, the one thing that was taken into consideration is District 5 and District 6 were going to lose revenue from their jurisdictions. Now, the city of Chehalis does not get that money. It just goes away once annexation occurs. The city of Chehalis has its own EMS levies that once annexation occurs and they take over that annexed area, then the Chehalis EMS levy then takes hold and the fire district levies go away. Now, with that, I approached District 5 and District 6. The reason I did so is because I don't want to see anyone get hurt as far as fire departments. Because if you hurt the fire departments, the one thing you're going to hurt is you're going to hurt the constituents, the people who are actually relying on those services when they need it the most. With that, we're trying to enter into a functional ILA where the fire departments work together to look at potentially merging. That doesn't mean they're going to merge. It just means you're looking at it to see if it's even feasible or possible. That if they merge and they decide to merge, it will have to go to a vote of the people and they get to decide if the merger will actually go through or not. Again, this is just one more thing to look at because of shrinking budgets. And I will tell you, and if there's representatives here from any of the fire departments and the districts, because Chehalis is in the same boat. Money is tight, as everybody knows. Fire district's money is tight. And probably all three are probably underfunded compared to what they should be. Merging fire departments in this case, in my opinion, makes sense, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. It still has to come to a vote of the people if it comes to that position. So now we're here today, and we're going to be taking comments, concerns, support, whatever it may be, for consideration for the commissioners and for the council members to consider your comments on whether or not a merger should actually occur. Now, with that, there has been several comments made in writing as requested for the past 30 days, and we received those comments. They are actually noted. Several have been responded to if it we're able to respond to those. Some were more comments and not necessarily asking questions, but more just making their comments known. Those have been provided to the commissioners, and they've also been provided to the city council members and the mayor. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to the mayor or Mindy.
Yeah, just a few closing remarks. I do agree with what Stacy said. We are looking to have the urban growth area and city limits be coincident. So be the same thing. That way, when cities request for an expansion of the UGA, it's because they need land to expand into. So we are shooting for that long term, having the city limits, all cities and their UGAs coincident with each other. To get there, we do need cities to annex the current UGAs as they are. I want to also be clear with everyone, when it is time to make your decision to have the county manager and the city manager sign the ILA, that doesn't mean that annexation is effective immediately. There's a period of time where the Boundary Review Board can be invoked. So there's this, I call it the lag time between when you make your decision and when the annexation becomes final. There's this lag period of time. I do want to just make a comment about the Boundary Review Board because it can get very confusing for people. The Boundary Review Board is not re-deciding if a property should be in or out of an area to be annexed or in and out of a UGA. That is your decision. That is the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners' decision. When you invoke the Boundary Review Board, they are going to review the proposal against state law. That's what they're going to do. Make sure T's are crossed and I's are dotted, but they're not going to be re-deciding something that is your jurisdiction to decide. Okay, so there's this lag period of time between when you make a decision and when it actually becomes final, and we do not want to stifle development during that period of time. There's constant development proposals going on and things happening in the UGA. So part of the materials that are in front of you is another ILA. We call that the Urban Growth Area Co-Management ILA. We've had a co-management ILA with Chehalis for a very long time. This is just an extension of that through that lag period of time. Once annexation becomes final, that interlocal, that co-management interlocal will expire. So I just want to make sure if there was any confusion about why you have two different documents in front of you, what they are about. And those are my closing remarks. So I'll turn it back over. Yeah.
We don't. Well, they should be in your packet. Your ILA starts on page 28. And Mindy, do you have the second ILA? Did we have those? Cassie? The second ILA from Mindy? It should be in there. What, do you know what page number it is?
I think it's page 27.
Yeah.
Stacy is the interlocal for.
It's
may-
page 25.
Yeah, it may be different if
Yeah, it's 25 in yours, Mayor. It should be the authorize the county manager enter interlocal. Oh, why is 25? Okay. There should be a second one. There's the ILA for the actual annexation, and then there's a ILA for working with the Lewis County for permitting in the UGA.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think you got that to put in there? Do we have a copy of that?
we can probably get a copy of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound like we got a copy of that to put in there, or if not, it didn't get put in.
We can definitely.
Well, And just as you know, so you know, we're not making a decision on that ILA tonight anyway. It is subordinate to what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. And it is an extension of the ILA as we currently have it. So we have an ILA. It is the same ILA that's currently in place, but the dates are changed because we needed to extend through this period of time, this lag period of time. So it is not a new terms and agreements or anything. It is what we are currently working under. We just need it to be extended. So once testimony begins, I will pop over and see if I can get copies run for the council members.
Okay. I don't think we have it. Yeah. All right, so I'll answer a couple of questions that I had received prior to this, and I think it deserves a response in case more people have this question. Is why is Chehalis looking at taking in the entire UGA or the vast majority of it, which is a valid question. We actually didn't look at doing that initially. We actually looked at how to break it down to take small sections at one time, at a time, kind of like it already happened. One of the issues with that is that as we're doing that, we're required to take in a certain amount of business, certain amount of residential, and make it a kind of very, not a rounded, but a very proportional annexation. If you look at the way the UGA is currently set up and the area of the UGA, it makes it very difficult in order to make that actually happen. When we started breaking it up, it made sense to, since the county was looking at having us take up our whole UGA and trying to break it up would have actually been less efficient, and it would actually cost the city and the taxpayers more money to go through this process again and again over the years. So the determination was made that we were taking the entire UGA, at least the vast majority of it, this part of it has to be cleaned up next year, but to take in the whole UGA rather than try to piecemeal it in because of the way the property lines were set, because of the layout, which would be residential versus business versus tax-bearing parcels. So that was the reason that this decision was made. For no other reason, it was just based on efficiency, cost, and effectiveness, and it would have happened over the years anyway, but it was just a matter of getting it done all at one time to make it more effective. And
so this is the portion of the public hearing for questions from commissioners and from council members. So we'll open it up if there are additional questions from any of the electeds. Well, I have one. So in regards to the fire district, the timing of annexation, should a potential development of a regional fire authority happen before or after, or ideally in conjunction? Maybe Chief Fulbright, do you have any input on that?
Yes, so right now we have a committee established to currently draft a interlocal agreement for functional consolidation. And what that does is it just creates a more robust process for us to collaborate together and work together, aligning our operational procedures and policies, and studying or beginning the study of the process of a voter approved merger or rural fire authority, if you will. That would be that would be post annexation of the UGA, is how that process would work. And it could take, a couple years, a year or two to get us to the voters.
Okay. So it would be not just, you're starting the process regardless of.
Correct. We've been at the process for about a month. We've had 2 meetings reviewing a draft ILA, which has currently been submitted to our legal for review and comment. And then we have additional meetings followed. And actually tomorrow night, we have a meeting look at our current finances and just kind of project out what the potential cost would be if we were to consider an RFA down the road.
Okay.
But our most important thing at this moment is just to kind of work together and strengthen our operational policies and procedures and culture, so that we can function well for the community.
And so obviously during that process, you're going to be discussing any potential loss of revenue between what's levied between 5 and 6 during a merger, because Stacy had made mention of that being a potential
Correct.
concern.
Right. Yeah. Currently, right now, so District 6, between fire and EMS levy both are collecting $1.22 per thousand assessed value. District 5 is $1.66. Because the annexation is happening after August 1st this year, if it's approved by council and commission, both fire districts retain all of their revenue throughout the year 2026. So that revenue loss would not take effect until January 1st of 2027, at which time the city would have to stand up a South End facility with staffing to handle and maintain the current service level or enhance the current service levels, or come to an agreement with both the districts and the city fire department to enter into an RFA. And that would protect all entities involved and the service provided to the South End.
Thank you, Chief.
Commissioner Brummer, one more thing on that, and I want to make sure that everyone's aware of this, is that annexation does not require the fire districts to merge or do a functional merger. That is something that we looked at because of if we do actually annex, then they're going to lose revenues and funds, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt by that. So the merger, if the annexation doesn't go through, they can still actually do the same thing regardless. They can still merge. And this isn't something that's been looked at, like this is the first time they've looked at it. There's been many attempts to try and merge the fire departments over the years, and no different than Centralia with District 12, to try to merge them together to form some type of an RFA, or at least merger into Chehalis, merge into District 6, and they become all District 6 or in District 5, depending on how that looks. So one does not affect the other, but there will be conversations regardless of any kind of potential loss that the districts may have moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Any additional questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
If the county votes on an ILA tonight and approves it, or in the future, does that obligate the city to any kind of timeline on them voting?
No, the vote that the county will be taking is to direct the county manager to sign the ILA. And so we can sign it at any point, but until you direct your city manager to sign it, it just sits. Yeah.
Thank you. Additional question. There's several methods under the RCWs, and this is obviously, direct method to do an annexation. If the county approves an ILA, is there anything precluding the city from doing an advisory vote or the resolution method to bring the annexation?
I don't have an answer to that. I'd need to check with our legal. I don't know if, Daniel, you have any thoughts on that?
At this time, no particular thoughts. It's something I would need to look at and come back with an answer.
Any other questions, Councilmember Carnes? Yep. Commissioner Pollock, did you?
Had a question with the, it sounds like sewer 4 is about maxed out with their connections. Would they have, if annexation did not go through and they needed to get more connections, would they be looking at a significant increase in rates, or would they be staying roughly the same for new connections? I think they have to have get more space in your system.
So sewer District 4 is not maxed out. They're maxed out of capacity at our plant, but they're not maxed out of what they can actually flow to our plant. So what they've purchased at our plant to go to our plant, they are at their max.
Yeah.
But if they purchase more, they could
Yeah.
do more.
Right, will that new rate be significantly different than the rate they're currently operating at?
The new rate, I believe, it is different. The new rate will go to the city of Chehalis would absorb District 4. So District 4's rate would now be City of Chehalis' rate. And I don't have that, I might have it in front of me. I don't have in front of me what District 4's rate is. But if you know that, I know what City of Chehalis' rate is. Is that what you're asking?
No, basically, I was wondering if, one of the concerns is that there are developers who would like to get into sewer fours area.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
Yes, Sewer 4 does have space that they can add on to Sewer District 4. And I think after doing the numbers, I think it's somewhere around 800 or 1,000 hookups to Sewer District 4 line without any improvements currently. The only limitation that Sewer District 4 has currently is the amount of space they have at the wastewater facility in Chehalis. If and when that is annexed in, that would become part of the city of Chehalis, and therefore those hookups would then become available again.
And do they have a surcharge right now since they're another system that's using yours? Like City of Centralia, you guys have to, if you're in the UGA, you have to pay extra for electricity.
Yes, we have a
And
30% for anybody outside the city limits currently. So once an annexation does occur, the people who have wastewater outside the city limits, their bill will drop by 30%.
Any other questions from council members or commissioners? We'll now open the question and answer period, during which time the public can ask questions. This is different from public testimony, which comes later. Now is the time to ask staff questions. Do we have any questions of staff? If you'll use the podium over here and turn the microphone on, and he will help you so that everyone can hear your question. And I am going to, go ahead. Go ahead. I am going to ask you to be succinct with your questions.
My name is Greg Cole. I'm a resident, have a Chehalis City address. I live outside, or we live outside the urban growth area, so any direct impact is relatively minor.
Mr. Cole, do you have a question? Do you have
Yes,
a
my question would be, does the city of Chehalis have any plans for Jackson Highway? Because there's a lot of growth going on currently right around Kennecott Hill. They're putting in a lot of apartments. There'll be continued growth. This is going to stretch the capacity of Jackson Highway. What is the plan going forward for accommodating that growth?
Yes. Right now, currently, the Jackson Highway, along with all the roads, is actually under the supervision of Lewis County. Now, even with, no matter who has it, Lewis County or the city of Chehalis, when a development comes in or developer comes in, whatever they may be building, they're required to make improvements to that roadway to try to mitigate any kind of more traffic that may be coming in. Right now, we're working with a couple of different developers that we know of that is going to be having to improve intersections about 3/4 to a mile away because of the potential of a flow of traffic that may be coming through. So to answer your question, is that is always looked at. The county looks at it now. The city of Chehalis look at it as well for any improvements compared to traffic that may be going up to make sure we promote safety and traffic flow.
Someone else with a question?
There you go. Sorry. Julie Bomelli, Lewis County. I apologize for my ignorance on this subject, but could you give me kind of a high level explanation of, so will they annex all this property into the county, which is going to be a loss of revenue for into the city, so it'll be a loss of revenue to the county, and then just kind of an idea of how does it affect a city resident once this happens, and how does it affect a county resident that when this happens? Is there like a property tax increase because of the loss of revenue? Anything like that you can share with us that gives us a kind of a more of a low level understanding of what's going on.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Mindy?
A little bit. Yeah, so there is definitely a change in where the revenue streams go when it becomes a city jurisdiction versus county jurisdiction. And initially, the county does lose revenue when their annexation occurs. However, one of the reasons we find it really important for annexation to occur is because there's a long-term maintenance requirement on roads. The roads are ours, the counties, as long as they're in the county jurisdiction. As Stacy was just saying, as those roads develop out at urban infrastructure, we don't have the resources to maintain those. So over time, it is a significant impact to our expenditures to maintain roads at urban standards. So over time, it is better for our budget for these lands to become city budget. So Stacy, did you want to respond to anything else regarding revenue shift?
Well, I think you stated it pretty well. There will be some shifts and there are some tax changing that comes. For an example, in Lewis County, you pay, I think it's $1.20 per thousand for a roadway tax. The city of Chehalis does not leverage that. We don't have the ability to leverage that. So right away, that goes away. The city of Chehalis gets their road tax money, not as much as that, but we do get some road tax money through the state, but nothing compared to that. So there will be a shift. So the people who live in the UGA currently, they will see a reduction of $1.20 per thousand. However, that being said, is that there's also the way things are shifting around. There's fire levies, there's Chehalis tax as well that will then you'll lose some, then you'll gain some. But overall, the people in the UGA should see at the end, should see a reduction in their overall tax to include wastewater reduction and freshwater reduction as well.
Anyone else with a question? Tim, will you hit the button on the right there and turn the light on?
That one?
Yep, you're good.
Tim Potter, Lewis County. A couple questions. Napa Vine Grove, their sewer comes into city of Chehalis. They have about what, next couple of years, 120 unit housing development, maybe more. How is that going to, affect it? I got three. We can go one at a time, however you want to do it.
Let's just do one at a time. I don't know, Mr. Bunker, do you want to speak to that or?
So currently, Napa Vine does have capacity, and they're a part owner, partner with the city of Chehalis. They have a certain amount that they invested when we built that plant 20 plus years ago. So their capacity will just continue with what the growth is in Napa Vine. It's currently we're looking at I would say probably in the 60% range of what we are at for our current plant. So there is room at the current plant. I mean, there's not unlimited room, but there is room.
Next one was road maintenance. You touched on it a little bit with dollars. The county obviously would like to get rid of it. It's less roads they got to maintain. That's basically what she said. It's cheaper for them. The city, I don't live in the city, but I'm in here every day, can barely take care of Market Street. No offense, I'm not trying to point fingers, but it's just the truth. How are you going to maintain from this spot right here, 5 miles out Jackson Highway and everything in between on these roads? The county hasn't been out Jackson Highway in 10 years. I know that, or you guys would be paying a fee.
Mr. Potter, I'm going to cut you off right there. Your question of maintaining the roads, Mr. Denham or Lance?
So a couple things there with maintenance of the roads. We will, thankfully, the county has done a very good job, in my opinion, with their county roads in our UGA. So that most of them are up to par and in good working order. We do have some issues in the Chehalis. Most of the issues in the Chehalis are not related as much to you see the surface, but we have a lot of infrastructure issues that we have to fix that before we can dig in to fix the main problem on the surface. So we do a lot of patching in the bad spots. Market is a great example of a road that what you don't see is much more expensive than what's on top. But but we are looking into, and I've had conversations with Jeff Sarquist and Kevin Corpy about the costs and the level of service that is being done out in our South UGA. He's getting back to me with some cost numbers, some actual how we can work together if it works out where it takes us a little bit of time to staff up. The county, we can continue with an ILA to support us in that year it takes us to staff up or get equipment to maintain the rest of that area that we have. Cost wise, there also Kevin and Jeff are looking at a cost for me of what they currently are in the area. I can tell you the CRAB, which is the county, it's a county road.
County Road Administration Board.
Administration Board. In 2022, they averaged a rural county road, and they're anywhere in the range from $10,000 to $20,000 per middle stripe mile. So per mile of road. That figure is not, I'm not going to say that figure is what the county is spending now, but they're getting back to me on what kind of they're looking at for a cost. 21, I believe. 20.
Another question, Mr. Potter, before you go?
This one would be to the council. Impact fees. Why do we not have impact fees? You want to annex this thing here, it would seem to me like we ought to have impact fees in place for all these apartments, all these things hooking up to our services that the people, I shouldn't say myself, because the only thing you're getting out of me is, sales tax. But these people have paid for the quality of life that we have here. And then we just allow people to come in and build apartments up the ying.
So, Mr. Potter, so your question is about impact fees?
Not filibustering, sorry.
I can say that we totally agree with you, and the city manager has been directed to get something to develop because we think impact fees are important, and the developers need to pay for the stress they're putting on the cities and the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other questions from folks in the gallery? Do we have anyone online that wishes to ask a specific question to staff? Use the raise your hand tool. With that, we'll now close the question and answer period. Go ahead.
I haven't really formulated this question, but I see some of my friends at Alderwood. If you could, and I'm just outside the UGA, but
can you state your name for me, sir?
Stan Giske.
Stan, thank you.
I'm not sure, this sort of feels like, in a way, a money grab. And can we really support the services that you're taking on? But can you speak to Alderwood and to what this is going to do for Alderwood, the folks up there and the development? And did I understand Stacy to say that regardless of whether the annexation goes through, fire department will not be impacted?
And if the annexation does not go through, the fire departments will not be impacted. They will maintain with their current budgets and their current area.
If it does go through, will it not require the fire departments to be complicit in this?
According to the RCW that we're currently using, we will be working with them and negotiating with them, yes. So.
I mean, that could put a halt to the annexation if, I'm not sure, but anyway, I'd just like someone to explain how this will positively or negatively affect Alderwood.
Okay. Alderwood is kind of a unique animal in itself, in that there's some, there was some concerns brought up earlier on about, like, for an example, if annexation occurs, that the city's going to come up and we're going to shut their gates. They're not going to be able to shut their security gate anymore, or the city's going to take over the road, or things of that nature. All those are not true. The city does not want to take over your road. The city does not want you to shut your gate. If you have a security gate, it's absolutely fine. It is a private road. The city does not want to take over private roads. So all of that was a concern that I had mentioned back in June. It was not the case, but that kind of lived in infamy, if you will, and that kept being passed around. I think it just finally died out that the city is not interested in taking over the roads or taking away the security gate up at Alderwood. Now, Alderwood has a unique issue that was, and I'm not going to get too far into depth on this, but it has a unique issue with the water currently up there with the fire suppression. And that was an agreement that was made back in 1994 when the developer actually put that parcel into place. They had made an agreement with the city of Chehalis about upgrading that system once that any annexation had occurred. Now that in itself is being debated, going back and forth, which is absolutely fine with me. In fact, I think I remember in June when I actually said that, I encouraged Alderwood to actually look into it. And if they have a different opinion, please let me know. I'm happy to discuss it, and if I'm seeing it wrong, please let me know. If our attorney's seeing it wrong, let them know, and we'll discuss it. So that currently is in negotiations. Now, as far as anything else to deal with Alderwood with the annexation, for the most part, they'll just get different law enforcement coverage, and then once the annexation goes through, or the fire department then takes over, the fire department will be then responding to that area, Chehalis Fire Department versus District 6, unless they do some type of functional merger. In that case, it'll be both fire departments responding.
Thank you, Mr. Denham. With that, we will close the question and answer period. Ms. Brooks and Mr. Denham, would you like your opening statements incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, thank you.
And Mr.
That's a
Bunker.
question for you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Bunker and Mr. Ketchum. If you would like your
That's a
statement.
question for you guys.
Yes, that's fine.
Mayor Ketchum.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you.
Would you like Mr. Chief Fulbright's? No? Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
We'll now open the hearing for public testimony. Please sign up at the sign-up sheet. This is your last chance to sign up. You'll have 3 minutes for public testimony. First up is Greg Cole. And if you'll just state your name and city of residence for the record, Mr. Cole.
Greg Cole, City of Chehalis, address. Just very quickly, my public statement would be that as a resident of Fire District 6, we fully support the ILA that all the chiefs and the committee are currently working on. It makes sense. Where we live, we have a Fire District 5 station about 2 miles from our home. And Fire District 6 is about 9 or 10 miles away. So it makes sense to have Fire District 5 responding to an emergency at our house. If we do the mutual aid, that's going to be a delay of some odd minutes, and we don't want that. And it doesn't make sense for the different districts to be cutting across each other to try to support different parcels within the fire districts. So we are completely in support of the ILA, and I hope that Chief Fulbright and Chief Cole can continue to work through that, and the rest of the members of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bud Goodwillie.
Bud Goodwillie. I'm resident of Fire District 5. One thing I want to Chief Denman, or correction, Mayor Denman to correct. He said that District 6 was broke. Now, I've been going to District 5 commissioners meetings for years now, and I've not once heard them say that they were broke. I don't know where you got your information from, but they're not broke. Yes, you did. And we've had this issues before. Also, regarding the LIA or IAL, this is nothing new. The fire departments are already doing this. They've been doing this for years. They've got mutual aid packs in place right now. They've got some automatic response agreements in place right now. What they're trying to say is the city cannot protect the areas in which they want to annex. They've got a station that sits across the railroad tracks, and their border would be clear out Jackson Highway to the river, and they expect District 6, District 5 to cover it for them. Now, what's District 5 and District 6 going to get in return? Nothing. So this ILA that they keep proposing is nothing but false, because the things that are being done right now is what they're trying to say they're proposing to have done. And I would just as soon have Fire District 5 respond to my house in a timely manner than to have a fire truck that responds to 90% of their 8 calls responding out Jackson Highway. And I think the citizens are going to become aware more of this, because I'm not going to sit back and let this develop. And the citizens, the area in which I live is predominantly elderly people. And anybody knows somebody has a heart attack, they don't want to wait for a fire truck to come from the other side of the railroad tracks to get out there, and to have an ambulance not available, one of the local ambulance companies not available. We know this is, I've known this is to occur several times.
Thank you,
I've
sir.
had
That's
35
time.
years experience in the fire service, so I know what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwillie. Tim Potter.
Thanks, Bud. You left it on for me. Tim Potter, Lewis County, Chehalis. Last piece of property in this gerrymandered map here. Couple things. I realize that nobody sitting at this table here drew this map. This map, I think, was drawn in about 2002, if I remember correctly. I've been in the UGA since it's been drawn. Didn't much worry about it because I'm 5 miles from town. What's it matter to me? Well, now it matters. So, the law, like Stacy said, was passed in 2018. Nobody worried about it then. I don't understand why we're worrying about it now. Seems like we're getting kind of ahead of our skis a little bit. I counted on the documentation that was presented. There's over 1,300 parcels that will be incorporated in, if I read that right. Is that on there's 53 per page and 25 pages, 25 and a half pages. That's over 1,300 parcels or people that will be affected by this. I've already said 5 miles from City Hall is too far for your guys' reach. I think this will end up being a burden on all the taxpayers, whether they're currently in city limits or going to be in the city limits, because there's no way the 1.9 million that you're thinking of taking in is going to cover maintenance, fire, just, it doesn't add up. The majority of this ground that's left to develop is in the port. So where are we gonna put people? The UGA is for growth. This is for urban sprawl. That is not the idea behind the UGA. We didn't go up, the line wasn't drawn up Kennecott. It's not up on the hillside there. It follows the sewer line and takes one parcel off the edge of Jackson Highway all the way out. It's ridiculous. We've already discussed 5 and 6 effects. We haven't discussed what happens, I mean, a little bit. I guess what Stacy's saying is if it doesn't pass, then we're gonna contract, pay 5 and 6 to be fire suppression. Let's see, I personally think the city needs to take smaller bites. Take a little smaller bites. I think that's what maybe prove you can manage that. Get it maybe more expensive, but, and I also think the commissioners, the county commissioners ought to pull that map back and redraw it, because it is not what was intended by the law. And it's,
Thank you, sir. That's your time.
Thank you, Mr. Potter.
well, there's a word.
John Braun.
Well, thank you. John Braun, rural Lewis County. I am here this evening as the managing member of Raindrop Properties. Raindrop Properties owns roughly 680 acres on the northeast portion of the map, the part that has no roads, no utilities, no houses. Therefore, this is relatively uncontroversial in our part of the proposal in front of us. This is a piece of property we have quietly been working to develop for several years now, including working with both the county and the city to move it from the Centralia UGA to the Chehalis UGA. It represents the potential for roughly 4,000 homes that would be developed over the course of the next probably decade, maybe a little bit more, but really represents the start of the housing that we need for our future. And for that reason, I am here to support the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. Charlie Allen. No Allen. Okay. Do we have anyone online that wishes to provide public testimony? Please use the raise your hand tool. David Toyer, you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, thank you. David Toyer, Toyer Strategic Advisors. We're a land use and economic development consulting firm and work with several folks owning property in the Chehalis urban growth area. And just wanted to speak in favor of both the interlocal agreement for the annexation as well as the related interlocal agreement to kind of extend how things are treated as they are today in the interim until any annexation would be complete. So thank you for your time this evening and just encourage your support of both.
Thank you, Mr. Toyer. Do we have anyone else online that wishes to provide public testimony? Just a reminder that we do have written comment that's been previously submitted that will be a part of the record. With that, we will close the hearing for public testimony.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the hearing to further testimony and recess this hearing to continue at or after 10 a.m. on November 25th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess the hearing to on or after November 25th, 2025. All those in favor?
If I may real quick, just, and I think it's important that everyone knows just a lot of the questions that were brought up today. I know that we've been jotting these different things down and there needs to be some answers for this. And that's why the delay, instead of just moving it forward right away, we do want to make sure that we get a lot of these questions answered and that we have answers for those questions. So
And we also want to provide time for Chehalis to go through their process, since this is their city.
Absolutely. It's a big decision and it is important for the communities, not only the residents here, but all of Lewis County. So it's been moved and seconded to recess the hearing to November 25th, 2025. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Mayor Ketchum, I'll turn it over to you.
What are we doing?
It's your council meeting, sir.
Oh.
Council meeting to move.
All right, I thank you all for
To re-
coming tonight,
It's to recess as well.
and we look forward to more
Mayor.
comments during this process and
It's to recess our section of the hearing as well.
close the public hearing. Okay, I close the public hearing, reopen the regular meeting, and then what I just said, and we are adjourned for the night.
Point of order, I believe someone's got to make a motion. Correct.
Yeah, I believe you'll need to have a motion from your council to suspend the hearing to recess.
Until a date
Conduct their
specific.
hearings in a different manner.
Do they completely? Well, I guess I'll leave it up to you and your legal counsel to decide what is appropriate for the way you want to close.
Let's go ahead and get a motion on this one, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
A motion to what?
to recess the hearing.
Oh,
to-
public hearing till the November 25th, November
I-
25th,
I
2025.
think you guys have a meeting on the 10th.
No, the next. Okay, just a moment. Apologies, Mr. Mayor.
I think what I did is fine.
Mayor Ketchum? I think your plan was a November 10th meeting.
Yes, we're going to be bringing it to city council on, I believe it's November 10th, and I believe it's November 24th at our two readings that we have. That November 10th will be the first reading.
So are we doing the first meeting or the second meeting?
We'll be suspending until the first meeting,
So,
the November 10th.
so we moved to table this until November 10th of 2025?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Second?
Okay. Y'all understand what we're doing? Okay.
Are we tabling or are we suspending?
Versus whatever they just did. We're suspending till November 10th.
Recess.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
recessing the hearing until November 10th,
All right.
2025.
You got all that?
Do you want to include a time for that? For your meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make the motion that we recess until November 10th. I'll need a second.
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Any further comments, questions? Hearing
Yeah.
none, all those in
Yeah.
favor?
I have a comment.
Yep.
I'd just like to say, because this is kind of finally our opportunity to say something, but thank you for everybody that's come out and those that have submitted comments and things online or reached out to us individuals on the council. I understand the concerns. We definitely hear it. We too want to understand and know all the details before we vote on this. We're not really looking to try and push anything through. I believe we will be able to get the details before the vote, but we would like to see explicit, details on exactly what this is going to cost for folks that are currently in the UGA area that may be annexed in, and those that are still in the city and will now be part of a larger city, and what additional costs that they may have. We too want the numbers, and we've pushed for that, and I think we'll get them.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. How can we hear this on November 10th when the county has moved it to a date past that?
So just a point of clarification, so you can still run your process concurrently with ours. And so we're giving you that opportunity. We unfortunately will not have another quorum meeting for you to be able to have the 10th and the 24th. That would be our next available time to discuss.
Any more questions?
November 25th.
10th of November. So it'll be that Monday and then 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
Whatever date that is.
24th.
24th, the 10th and the 24th. All right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.